interviewing someone is that moment when you're interviewing someone, it's completely unnatural, is not like the job. So you want to imagine what that person will be like at the job. Sometimes it takes a couple times meeting someone. When you're setting up an interview, one of the more important things to consider is that this is the person's first, assuming that you have someone you really want to hire, this is someone's first impression of you.
And the whole time that you're meeting with somebody, you're wanting to learn about fit and suitability both ways, for the role and for the organization, for them and for the organization. So it's about spending that time really getting to know the individual and also letting them know about you, equally important. At the end of the day, the fit goes really both ways. My two favorite questions that I always ask to a candidate: what do you need to be successful in this role? It allows me to understand what they're looking for, and then you can assess whether that they would find that in the role, either through the way they're going to be managed in the organization or the way that the organization is structured, the culture of the company, all of those things. The second question would be, if I was to gather your colleagues from your previous organizations together casually for a coffee and ask them to tell me about you, what would they say? And that question gets you a lot of information from the candidate about themselves, because they understand that, in fact, if they are the successful candidate, you may well be calling some of those people for references. So the responses that you get back often are very reflective and actually what you would find out if you were to ask a candidate, ask a reference for that information.
So my two favorite questions are, just tell me about what it is that you think that you bring to the table for this organization, and how your life history and the work history will apply against this job. So make the connections for me so I can understand, A, if you understand my business and what's going on in it, and B, if you're self-aware enough of what your history has been as to where it's brought you through those steps. And also just tell me about some of the things that you've done in your life, that you're proud of, that really that you've sort of defined you as being you.
So one of the better interview questions I've ever heard is, tell me about your greatest accomplishment, and tell me more, and tell me more, why, tell me more, and just bury into their greatest accomplishment. So you're figuring out what they think their greatest accomplishment is, so what their lens is on their lives. And the second piece of that is trying to get some detail out of that. Do they give you metrics, or is it all fluff? And you can learn a lot about someone if you have the discipline to ask follow-on questions, especially when someone's uncomfortable. Don't just move on. If you pause and let someone continue their thought, you're going to get a lot of truth coming out of them.